What's up, nerds? Okay, so here's what's gonna happen in this video. I want to do a try chapter tag. I've never done one before. It sounds fun. And I also want to unhaul some books that maybe like I've had forever and I'm not going to read them. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine the two, and I'm going to read 10 books that I've had on my shelves forever to see if I actually want to read them. I'm going to read the prologue in any first chapter, just like the try chapter book tag. I've got my list right here. You can see that Lily had fun with it. I also have criteria on here that I'm going to have to decipher, but we'll get to that in a second. What I'm going to do now is go around my apartment and pull out the books, and then we'll sit down and talk about it. Okay, so, oh shit. I'm doing laundry. Just ignore my stuff. My piles. So most of these books are going to be here. Okay, first up we've got the Luminaries. That is actually over here. The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. So let's pull that one out. Next up is A Changed Man by Francine Prose. I think that's over here. Yep. Okay, next up is The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Ah! Got that. Got that. And I've got... Then we came to the end. Hey, do you see how all of these are in my general fiction / literary fiction section? Is that a coincidence? Do you think so? No, I don't think so. The Hour I First Believed by Wally Lamb. Ugh. I feel like very chaotic right now. Oh, why is it over here? Okay. Also, why is Wally Lamb up here? Oh, because it's blue. Then I've got Microsurfs. Where's Microsurfs? Right up here? Yes. Microsurfs. And then I think the last non-genre is Unraveling of Cassidy Holmes. Hey, shh, guys. Okay. Lily's learning to play. We should be happy for her. Okay, so I think I have it in here somewhere. Yeah, so she actually she doesn't really know how to play. So something must have happened to her when she was a very small kitten before I had her. And she doesn't, like when I, like toys, they're foreign concepts to her. She just doesn't understand what to do. I think I've seen her maybe 5 times in her entire life play. Whoa, it's dusty in there. There it is. Oh, all the way in the back. Unraveling of Cassidy Holmes. I gotta put this away. What are you doing up there? Oh, yep, that's what you're doing up there. Okay. Can you not, please? You're gonna break it. He's gotta love that air going up his butthole. Unraveling of Cassidy Holmes. Okay, those are gonna stay there for a second. And now I'm looking for 3 genre books. Dragonbone Chair, Fire Upon the Deep, and 3 Parts Dead. So that's out here. There's my tripod. You can see my shelves are looking a little messy. I'm about to reorganize them, so look out for that video. Fire Upon the Deep should be here somewhere. Am I staring right at it? No. Those are all Star Wars books. Star Wars. Nope. I should have known that wasn't. Does anybody else like crappy old paperbacks as much as I do? Like new ones, I don't like mass market, but old ones, give me them. Gimme. Oh, it's right here, stupid. Okay. Fire Upon the Deep, Burner Bench. He just died like yesterday, I think, actually. So this is a long time coming. Now, what am I looking for? Oh yeah, 3 Parts Dead. So that is over there. But what was the third one? Oh, Dragonbone Chair. Okay. So that's gonna be, no! Hold on, you guys. Hey, what'd you do? Well, he had, it was right there. I was asking for it, I guess. It's been in my house for 5 days without that. Him trying to get in to the flowers. Hey, you, come here. Hey, what'd you do? Can you look at me? Yeah. Okay, I gotta clean up this mess. Now I do have to go back over here. Hey, you've caused enough trouble. Sir, there we are. It's hiding. Okay, I'm gonna get it out of here. And that's gonna knock everything over. Ah! Dragon Bone chair. By the way, last time I showed you guys my shelves, I had a different copy of this book, but I found this on Pango. And it's real super old. And I really like it. And it smells really good. Now, let's get the last book. That's what I got so far. Please don't mind, again, doing laundry. Also, there's a puzzle under here, and Pippin's destroyed it like 5 times, so I'm just covering that up with sheets. Okay. Oh my God, it's right there. I'll be right back. Okay. Got the last one. Now I need some water. I'll be right back. Okay. Wait, where'd my list go? Chaos. Okay. So, here's how this is going to work. I have a series of unreadable questions on this paper that I'm going to rank these books by. And if it doesn't reach a certain number, they're gone. Now, that doesn't mean that I will never read the books. It just means they will not be actively on my TBR or taking up room on my shelves. The questions I will be asking myself at the end of each chapter. Did I like the characters? Did it catch my interest? Did I like the writing style? Vibe check. Anything worth tabbing, quotable. And then 2 points possible per answer. So you can get a 1 or a 2. Wait, what am I talking about? It says 2 and under get DNF'd. Ashley, that doesn't work mathematically. Dum-dum. So I'm going to say 5 and under gets unhauled, okay? So there's a possible 10 points. Anything 5 and under, goodbye bye. If I get rid of any of these, it doesn't mean no forever. Unless something in it makes me say no forever, but I seriously doubt that a chapter is going to change my mind. Like forever, you know? Especially since all of these are pretty well regarded. They're just books that I've owned for so long. Like the way I picked the books, this is so chaotic, I'm so sorry. The way I picked the books is I went to my Goodreads shelves. I sorted it by date added to my to read list. And I went, and I didn't pick every single book that was the lowest or the highest position rather, like number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, meaning that's the oldest one I currently have on my TBR. I just picked ones that I thought like, well, you know, that there's some sort of doubt. Some of these are just like, I need to kickstart myself to read them sooner. And some of them are, I'm genuinely not sure if I want to read this. But there's some like that I put on that to read list that I know I'm going to read someday, or that's never going to change that I want to read it. It's just a matter of when. That's not this. So now what I'm going to do, I've got 10 books. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read 2 at a time, and then I'm going to come back here and we'll talk about it and we'll give each book a score. We'll see how many books I will unhaul by the end of this. Sorry, I just had some tabaki. Tabaki, I still don't know how to say it. Finish the first 2. Okay, so first up, I need my list. I should have rewritten it. Whatever, who cares? Improvising is my thing. Okay, so first up, we have Max Gladstone's 3 Parts Dead. So this is a book, let's see, when was it published? It was published by Tor in 2012, and I think I bought it pretty close to publication. Got it from Book Outlet. And I think it was like around 2014, maybe 2015. So I've had it 10 years-ish. And I've never read it. And the series is long finished and he's moved on to other stuff, including the surprise Twitter sensation, How to Lose a Time War with Amal El-Motar. I think that's her name. I never picked it up, never even thought about picking it, which is sad because I think I like it. So what we've got here is a second world fantasy. Main character is Tara Abernathy. She has just been kicked out or graduated, I think. I'm not quite sure. Again, like this is a speculative fiction, so sometimes things are up in the air. She's just been graduated, which involved being literally thrown from the sky. So that's how the book opened. From the school, the Heavenly School or some sort of school of magic. They call it the Craft though. Again, very vague. But she is basically in her hometown where we're at in the book, at least after the first chapter, which ended on page 22. There was a prologue as well. She's been offered a job after her creation of zombie guards didn't amuse the townsfolk who are scared of craftspeople, I guess. I don't know why. And anyway, and then the prologue followed this priest of this flame god who came and was doing his daily prayers, which I think it's implied that the god's magic literally runs the city. So it's not like a god that you just have faith in and, you know, hope things will be okay. This is a literal god that has literal power, powers things in the city, so you know he's there. And all of a sudden he's not there. The back of the book tells me that this god has died, and in fact this god has been murdered, and Tara, who is now a first-year associate in a necromantic law firm involving magic practitioners or a craft, it's her job to track it down, although I didn't get that far. Literally the chapter ended with her getting the job and writing home to her parents, hey, I got a job offer, peace out. So that's the book. Now let's answer the questions. First question, did I like the characters? Okay, so now let me say something I messed up earlier. I can also give a 0. So there's either 0, which means no, 1, maybe, 2, yes. Very clear scale. But because I realized if I just gave 1 and 2, then I was probably going to keep all these books, and we don't want that. That is not the goal here. Did I like the characters? So now this is tough. So this book has a tone that made it sort of hard to even, it's not very emotionally driven, which is how I connect to characters. I didn't not like them, but I didn't also care that much. I was more interested, well, I'll get to that in a second, in something else. So I'm going to give it a 1. I didn't dislike or like the characters. They were just there. Again, only 22 pages. So that's not that surprising, but I've loved a character after 1 page before. Gideon the Ninth. Gideon the Ninth. That's a 1. We can put that on the tally. Next question. Did it catch my interest? Yes. I found the world building in here particularly interesting. I'm always excited to find a unique world that feels well thought out and like imaginative. And it really did. It felt unique. It felt like I'd never read it before. And the idea of the magic, I can't explain why because I don't know enough about it yet, but it caught my interest for sure. So I'm giving that a 2. Next question, did I like the writing style? I'm going to give it a 1 just because, again, early days and it didn't grab me right away and I had to reread several bits, which could be fine once I get the hang of the world and the characters and the story going in, but it didn't immediately make me say, yes, I love this. So we're going to say 1. Vibe check, I'll give it a 2. If it was weird. I like weird stuff. Anything worth tabbing? I liked the first sentence of the first chapter. That definitely caught my interest. When the hidden schools threw Tara Abernathy out, she fell 1,000 feet through wisps of cloud and woke to find herself alive, broken and bleeding beside the crack in the world. So that's a memorable first sentence. But other than that, I think I was too busy like trying to catch what was going on to worry about what was actually being said, if that makes any sense. Then again, prose doesn't really always rate high, like super high in my things of importance. I would much rather have the prose recede into the background and I'm in the story than sit here and say, oh, that was so well written. Oh, that line, you know, really well written stuff does that to me, like no matter what. But I think my preference is to just not notice it at all and just be in it. So that didn't do this. Blah, blah, blah. So what's my score then? I should have written this down. And then anything worth tabbing, that was a 1. So that's a 7. 7 out of 10. So this one stays. I am interested, but at this point, now that I know what's happening, like if I don't pick it up within the next year, I might end up getting rid of it. I don't know. But at this point, it's a 7 out of 10, so it stays. Okay, next up is Microserfs by Douglas Copeland. Now, I knew this book was about like a sort of a satire, like a comedic fiction satire about the work culture at Microsoft, but I thought it had been written like in the 2000s or sometime, but to my surprise, this was written in 1995 and it's taking place in 1993. So this is like early days Microsoft. So this book was really ahead of the curve. Your average Joe didn't even know most of this stuff was going on. Like a lot of this is pretty mainstream knowledge now. It was not back then. This is over 30 years ago this book was written. That was surprising. If you can see, this is a dude in his underwear. Oh, and he's naked sometimes too. I found the naked one. I've never noticed the naked dude before. Oops. So this is, like I said, a social satire about a group of Microsoft peons who are coders who catch mistakes basically all day. And they live in a group house, a Microsoft house, because all they do is work. And then they go home and sleep and then they work some more. And they eat flat food because that's what you could pass underneath the door. Meat slices, Pop-Tarts, cheese. that kind of stuff. So first question, did I like the characters? I did not like them. So again, it gets a 1, but this chapter was only 6 pages long. So it really didn't give me much of a chance, but it had a very distinct voice. So I feel like that wouldn't change too much. This is not the type of book that is going to be character driven. This is message and writing style driven. Second question, now that I've got a 1, did it catch my interest? I'm gonna give it a 1. I would keep reading this if it was a book club pick or something like that. Do I want to give it a 0? I'll give it a 1 for now. I might change my mind later. I don't know. We'll see. Do you like the writing style? Again, like, it's clever. It's kind of funny. It's satirical. It's insightful to this culture. Because I think Douglas Copeland worked at Microsoft at one point. I can't remember. It's been a really long time since I picked this up. I found it at a used bookstore ages ago. And I don't know why. Like, this isn't something I would normally be drawn to. I just thought this was kind of funny. Probably it was the naked people in their underwear. What was the question? It's clever and it's funny and it's not boring, but also it really didn't catch my emotions, any of them. I'll say another 1. So we've got 3 1s. Vibe check. I'm going to give it a 1 because I didn't not like it, but also didn't like it. Anything worth tabbing? No. So that's a 0. Now, if you've been paying attention, that's a 4. So I knew as soon as I read this, I was going to be unhauling it. So I just don't care. I don't care at all. This doesn't need to be on my shelf. Like, there are so many other books right now that I know that I would love and that would catch my interest and my emotions and like be the whole package. And this barely caught anything. So it's gonna go. So I'm gonna stick this in the unhaul pile. Now, off to read 2 more books. Okay, I've finished the next 2. Let's talk. Got my mangled note. First up is Then We Came to the End by Joshua Ferris. This is probably one of the 2, actually both of them are here, the oldest book on my TBR that I've owned and not read. This is a literary fiction satire about workplaces. It was published in 2007. It's very 2000s, I just forgot the word, not the Great Depression, the recession, pre-recession, and it was just like the very first sentences, we were fractious and overpaid. I mean, maybe the fractious part, but the overpaid part, can't relate. I mean, it's basically they're creative ad people, logo makers, ad people. I don't know. It's told in the first person plural, which can work, but it was strange. It was like The Office was telling the story, and it would single people out, and then it would occasionally be like, but Jim knew this because Jim was one of us. What is happening? First question, did I like the characters? No, I did not like the characters. Some of them were entertaining, but I didn't like them. I don't think that we're meant to like them though. So I'm gonna give it a 1. Did it catch my interest? Yes. I easily read the really long first chapter of this, which was 51 pages. I mean, it was interesting. The writing voice was really interesting. If you had to sit down and make me choose between this and other books, I'm not gonna probably pick this one. Although I would read this over Microsurfs for sure. Did you like the writing style? Yes, it was funny, but it didn't do anything for me personally. So 1. So I've got 3. Vibe check, pretty good vibes, but not my favorite. So we're up to 4. Anything worth tabbing? No. So I'm gonna say 0 there. And that would be a 4. So wow, this is working. I've had this sitting looking at me on my very first shelf in my bedroom for so long, and now it's leaving. And honestly, like 50 pages is a long time to give to a book when you're reading a first chapter. This is a long first chapter. I feel like I know exactly where this is going, and I just don't care. I don't think it's super relevant anymore either. I feel like the economy and the workplace has moved on, and this is not specifically critiquing like rich people. That you're supposed to be like average workers, and I just don't think that they represent. I mean, if I want like commentary about a workplace, I'm just gonna watch The Office. And then next up, The Unraveling of City Holmes. This was actually a book of the month pick that I almost got years ago. I don't remember what was the year that this was published. 2020. So it was like my first year of book of the month. It's about a girl group, I think from the 90s, and one of them doesn't talk to the other 3, Cassidy Holmes. They're all still like doing things and trying to make money together and making albums and being in movies together. And Cassidy Holmes is doing her own thing. And apparently they're really famous, which is, you got to pull that off. if you're gonna say somebody is really famous, like a group is really famous, like then you should portray that. And I did not get the feeling of authenticity from this first. Actually, I only read the prologue because the first chapter would have took me up to like page 80 or something, and I didn't want to read that. So I just read the prologue, which was basically just the first chapter. It was kind of a mess. The POVs were all over the place. I was like, what's going on? But anyway, so the whole premise of the book is that the other three women, sorry, I got cat hair in my mouth. The other three women here that Cassidy has unalived herself. She's committed suicide at the beginning of the book. And then it's going to go back and do flashbacks for Cassidy. And like, that sounds interesting to me on a theoretical level, which is why I bought the book for like $3 on Book Outlet a couple years ago. But stylistically, it's not doing much for me. And I think the numbers are going to show that. So let's go here. Did I like the characters? No, this gets a 0. I felt nothing for them. In fact, I actively did not want to be in their point of view. Not even Cassidy, the main character. When it switched to her, I was like, oh, this is boring. I don't like it. I don't like you. Did it catch my interest? No. I skipped a lot, actually. I skipped some things, even though it was the prologue of the book. Do you like the writing style? I mean, no, I didn't hate it. To clarify this question, it doesn't mean did I like the writing as in like, did I like the story? Did I like that kind of, that's not what this is. I mean like the voice. What kind of voice is the author using? This was just a standard, normal well actually it was first person. I'm not sure who was talking. It was first person, like no. So the writing style, I'll give it a 1. It's got, you can see where this is going. Vibe check, no vibes, 0. Anything worth tabbing, no. So this got a 1. I didn't expect this. I was hoping for something more like Daisy Jones and the Six kind of thing, or what's that one by Donnie Walton? Opal and Nev. I don't remember the full title. I like those, you know what I mean? I don't know. You know what I mean. Whatever. Who cares? This is leaving. 2 more. Be right back. Oh man, this is taking longer than I thought. I've got 4 left. So the first one I read was A Changed Man by Francine Prose. This is a book that has been on my radar. Not my official Goodreads TBR, or I've owned it since 2005 when it was published. My friend Karina from college used to write for the Daily Wildcat at the University of Arizona, and she reviewed books. And I read the Daily Wildcat every day. I did the crossword during class, right in front of the teacher. Did I spend a lot of money for that? So yeah, she wrote a review of this book. Back then, if somebody told me to read something, or somebody said a book was important or something, I would just be like, yeah, I'll read that. Because I didn't know my tastes, other than I knew I liked fantasy and sci-fi, but I didn't know other stuff. But she made it sound really interesting. So this is a book about a neo-Nazi skinhead who turns and decides to go find this famous Holocaust survivor who started a foundation. He started a long time ago, and he's very famous now, who works on behalf of Jewish people and combats white supremacism and anti-Semitism. So he shows up at the office one day in New York. He just shows up and he's like, hey, so I just defected and I want to help you guys. Can you help me? Because he turned and he doesn't have a house. He doesn't have money. He doesn't have anything. It's pretty clear that he has a very shallow conversion at the moment. And he actually hasn't changed all that much. But I think the rest of the book is going to be him slowly actually changing. I don't know. But let's talk about the questions, because this is interesting. First question, did I like the characters? Yes. So the main character's name is Vincent Nolan, and his narrative voice was super interesting. I couldn't help but like him even when he was saying shitty things, but it was he didn't know they were shitty. Lily, stop! He didn't know they were shitty, which is interesting. And you could feel other people reacting to them and him not understanding that they were, he could feel something was off, but not why. So it just feels really nuanced to me. But he seems like he could be good, you know what I mean? He's got good bones, good foundation of personhood. Is that a thing people say? So yes, I liked the characters. That gets a 2. And I liked the other 2 main characters. There were 4 characters actually so far, but one of them barely spoke. I could very much feel exactly who these people were, even though I only spent 26 pages with them. Francine Prose is a good writer. Second, did it catch my interest? Yes, hell yes. this is so interesting to me. That's why I wanted to read it in the first place, the idea of a neo-Nazi changing his mind. It's not as drastic as it makes it seem. And I know there was a book, a nonfiction book in the last like 5 or 6 years where somebody turned from being a neo-Nazi and then wrote a book about it. I don't think I put it on my TBR, I'm not sure, but this is a fictional version of that 10 years before that was published. So yes, it caught my interest, so that's another 2. And then, did you like the writing style? Yes. I was I was pulled in. I could have kept going if it wasn't like I almost kept reading on chapter 2 because I was like, oh, but no, I have like 6 more books to read, 5 more books. So I stopped, but I could have kept going. This is the first one of these where I've been like, I want to read the rest of this right now. So that is another 2. So we're at 6 right now. So I already know I'm keeping this, but let's see how high we can get. Vibe check. So I'm not quite sure about this one because the feelings that I was getting, like I could get pretty uncomfortable later on, which is going to really, hurt the vibes. Vibes generally being, positive. So I'm going to give that a 1. So we're at a 7. And then anything worth tabbing, honestly, yes, but I don't recall because I was too busy reading, which is what always happens to me when I'm reading. I'm like, I'm sure other people could have tabbed stuff and noted. Let me see if I can find something. Well, probably the thing that just most stood out to me, he's trying to like weasel his way, because he's like manipulating his way into their good graces of this woman that helps this guy, Meyer Maslow is the guy's name, run this foundation. And it's pretty clear that they can see right through him, but like they see potential. But like he's trying to seal the deal and get them to like help him build a new life and basically sponsor him in exchange for telling his story and getting the word out and promoting their organization. And Meyer Maslow asks him to pull up his shirt and show his arms because he's wearing a long sleeve shirt to hide his Nazi tattoos. So he pulls him up and he's like, yep, I knew they were going to ask about this. And then he surprises the out of Nolan and he pulls up his own tattoo and shows him the tattoo from Auschwitz and starts asking him questions like, did you know about this? That just like totally sets our narrator back. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it. So Nolan's talking to Maslow and Bonnie is the woman's name. Anyway, that's what tattoos do. I mean, they mark time. I remember when I got these, and he gets interrupted. Maslow's face hardens from best friend puppy to attack dog. My tattoos and yours are not the same. I know that, says Nolan. You don't know, Maslow says. I'm learning, says Nolan. Believe me, I would have tapped that. Lots of really delicious conflict and ideas that I'm super interested in. So if we're counting, so we're at an 8. So this one is winning so far, which I didn't see coming, to be honest with you. The next up is Fire Upon the Deep by Vernor Vinge. I'm always looking for classic sci-fi novels at used bookstores, and this is a really influential one. It won the Hugo Award. It was published in 1992, which is over 30 years ago now. It's a space opera, and I love space opera. I like nitty-gritty weird sci-fi concepts when they're not too scary, because they can get scary. So I'm still kind of unclear what this is about, and my main reaction is, what the f***? Like, I don't know what just happened. I mean, I kind of get it. It's been a while since I've read like a really hard sci-fi and like had this deep feeling of confusion. Like I don't know what's going on. Mostly like I like 40% know what's going on kind of a feeling, but you're meant to like learn as you go. So that's where I'm at with this one right now. But basically it's a book about a group of humans in space and they have 2 ships and a station, or maybe they're on a planet. I couldn't tell because it was confusing. But they wake something up or they create something. It's either like some sort of an entity that used to exist and was all powerful and was defeated or went away, or it's like an AI or something that has been recreated. I don't know. There's some sort of entity and they have to escape wherever they are. And one of the ships gets destroyed and one of them makes it and jumps away. And they find a planet and they don't know what this planet is, but it's habitable for human life. So they land and it's 2 parents and their 2 kids. I think they're Norwegian. They've got a bunch of children in cryosleep. And that's where we're at. And I think the aliens are like wolfy. They're like wolfy aliens. And the title, A Fire Upon the Deep, that's just a cool title. So I have really high expectations for this. But let's look at the numbers. And also, I didn't read. I just saw that John Scalzi posted on his blog that Vernor Vinge died yesterday. I didn't read about it. I assume it's from old age, but I don't know for sure. I'll link an article about it down below. So questions. Did I like the characters? No, but also I did not like them either. there just wasn't enough time. There was only 16 pages of prologue and chapter 1. So these are shorter chapters. So I was too busy trying to figure out what the was going on. I was too busy like trying to figure things out. That was secondary concern. Characters can come later. You know, we're still in the setup here. So I'm gonna give that a 1. Did it catch my interest? Yes. It's hard for me to strike that balance at the beginning. This caught my interest less than a lot of confusing sci-fi has at the beginning, because it's not really talking about anything that I'm like inherently interested in. Weird AI entities waking up and space archaeologists and children and none of that stuff really grabs me emotionally, but I'm not interested in it. I'm open to being interested in the future. So let's give it another 1. Did I like the writing style? I did not like it, but again, it was confusing. So I'm gonna give it a 1. Vibe check. The vibes are there. 2. I love classic sci-fi sometimes. I mean, this is like towards the later era, like verging into like millennial sci-fi. So, but it's still in the early 90s, like just fresh out of the 80s, which is definitely classic sci-fi territory in my opinion. So I just like those vibes. I don't know why, like it's just a different mindset that sci-fi authors had in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And I like it. That's a 2. And then the last thing, anything worth tabbing? No, because I was, again, too confused. So we've got 1, 1, 1, 2. So it's a 6. Okay, so it's a 6. That's less than I was hoping, but what are we gonna do about it? I have to go read again. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, I've lost the light in my previous filming location, so we've moved. I finished the next 2. First up is The Hour I First Believed by Wally Lamb. I've read both of his other books that he's published. I think he's only done 3 books. Should say in here. Fiction books. So up to the publishing of, I don't know, he might have published something else after this, but this is the last one that I bought. And this was published in 2008, which is crazy. But let's talk about it. So this is a really big book. It's like 730 pages. It's a chonker. I don't like this cover. I like the original cover better, but this is the one that I found at the used bookstore. So this is the one that I have. This is a book about a English teacher. His wife is a school nurse and they work at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. The first chapter of this is about him talking about the night before it all happened, how he went to Blackjack Pizza and both of them were there. And then he like goes into what happened that night and how he wishes things would have been different with his wife. And then that's where it stopped. And I wanted to keep going. So I think we know where this is going. Did I like the characters? Okay, so no. He was, they're complicated people. They felt like fully fleshed out people. So in that sense, I liked them. Did not like them personally. The main character's name is Calum, or Kylum if you're doing it the correct Latin way, but Calum Quirk and his wife Maureen. Calum is a jackass. I mean, he's just like this arrogant, toxic man. He's a jerk to his wife, third wife, by the way. So that's a red flag. And I'm pretty sure, having read Wally Lamb before and having a very sensitive portrayal of things previously, that this is on purpose. We're meant to think that he's a jerk at the beginning of this story. So hopefully there will be some change. I'm still going to give it a 1 though. I'm not there yet. Did it catch my interest? Yes, I already told you I wanted to keep going. It actually made me want to pick up Columbine, the book, again. That's a really dark book, but it's really well done. And it's really good nonfiction if you're curious about it. Did you like the writing style? Yes. Caught me right away. It's a very storyteller writing style. And I remember that from the previous 2 books that I read of his, is that it's a very storyteller style told in the first person about a person telling you about something that happened to them, like their whole life. Vibe check. So the vibes were there. They were sort of negative, but it had a definite like source of tension, like something's about to happen. So I'm going to give it a 2. So wait, I lost count. Hold on. And then anything worth tabbing? No, I wasn't really paying attention though, but there wasn't any line of note. It was just mostly the same vibe throughout. And there wasn't really like a line that stood out. So that's a 7. This is a 7. So it's staying. I knew that when I was reading it, but it's a 7. Okay, and then the next one is The Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. Can you see that? And this is the original Michael Whelan cover. Michael Whelan is the artist who does the Stormlight Archive books. He's really good, but I don't super love this anymore. Look at that kid's face. I think it's kind of racist, Michael. I know this was published in 1988, but no excuses. Wait, am I mixing books up? Let me double check. Yeah, 1988. This is an epic fantasy novel, the first in a trilogy. I, again, I'm on a mission in used bookstores to find every classic fantasy and sci-fi novel that I can. And I picked this one up a long time ago because it's on all the lists of classic epic fantasy. It actually doesn't sound super interesting to me on the back. And after having read it, I'm not sure if I will like it, but let's see what the numbers say. Did you like the characters? No, I did not like them. And I think I was meant to, not quite sure yet. Not sure what kind of story this is, but generally with this type of story, like heroic epic fantasy, we're meant to like them. I don't know though. So I'm gonna give it a 1 because I'm not sure if I'm meant to like the characters. Did it catch my interest? No, not really. So basically what happened in this first chapter, there was this impenetrable epigraph of a fake book in world of the history of this king, Prester John, who is the current king of Austin Ard. He's the High King. He slayed a dragon one time. He's the conqueror of these fake elf-like people. Lily, stop. Don't eat my book. He did a bunch of shit, but now he's old and he's sick and he's dying. Like, he's like, I'm not going to live out the winter kind of thing. So, but he's dying and he wants the throne to go to his eldest son, Elias. And then there's a younger weirdo son, which is what I'm getting from this. It didn't sound like a weirdo, but I mean, they think he's a weirdo, and his name is, not sure how to say it, Joshua, but there's no H, so Joshua, I don't know how to say it. That's the weirdo son. And then he is talking to his advisor, and it was boring. The main character, though, his name is Simon. He's a 14-year-old kid. He's kind of useless, which is interesting. It is interesting in the sense that you don't often get that in fantasy where a useless character is the main POV. Usually they're just down on their luck or in a rough spot or poor but noble. You know, this kid's useless. He's like, but he's out like catching bugs when the whatever head chambermaid finds him outside and makes him go back to work, and he's really whiny about it. And he knows he's useless, to give him credit, but this is the guy we're following, a useless person. Maybe his journey is to go from being useless to not useless. I don't know. So that was interesting. So I do kind of want to give it 1 for that, even though I didn't like that character, but I'm just not sure what to make of all this yet. I don't know what kind of writer this dude is and what his values are in terms of what he values in terms of characters and heroics and like what the overall like feeling of it is. I just don't know. That's a 1. So I've got 2 so far. Did you like the writing style? My mind was swimming away while I was reading it, especially at the beginning. When characters were talking and stuff, that was good. He was really good at description. So I'm going to say 1 also. Vibe check. It really didn't have any vibes, to be honest with you, except for the castle. Like the castle had a good vibe, but like the story itself, no vibes. So 0. Anything worth tabbing? No. So that's a 3. Oh, wow. I didn't think I would be unhauling this. You know what? It's okay. The only reason I'm sad is that I love Michael Whelan, but I don't need this. And if I want to read it, I can do the audio, or there's a new cover out. That's what I actually have on my Goodreads. This is what it looks like. So maybe this is fine. This is the whole point of this, is that I'm getting rid of books that are just not going to be it. Now I'm going to go feed Lily and Pippin before they eat everything else that's marginally edible in my house. And then I will come back to you with the last 2 books. Heidi ho, neighbors. Wow. How to Tell You're a Millennial 101, if you know where that's from. I read the first chapter of the Luminaries, and oh boy, was it long. Oh boy, that was at 40, what is it? Okay, 43 pages, and it felt like 80. So that's not a good sign. So this is the Booker Prize winning novel from Eleanor Catton, who just released Burnham Wood, which I think she's a bit of a literary chameleon, likes to try on different genres. This book is historical fiction, and it's a little bit speculative, which is why I own it still, and it has made its way through my various purges over the years. The very first part of it opens up, and we're in New Zealand in 1866 during the gold rush there, and 12 men have gathered in a hall during a rainy night, and a 13th comes in. He's fresh off the boat. He wants to dig for gold. He's a well-to-do person from England, and the 12 men are there for a mysterious purpose, and he gets involved. And of course, that's where it ended before I could hear the story. But they're there to talk about some mysterious goings-on that have been going on in this town and what to do about it, I guess. And I want to know what that is, so I do want to read this. But okay, let's just go. When was this published? It's so long, you guys. It's like Bible pages. 2013. This was published in 2013. Wow, I didn't realize it was that long ago. She writes very slowly. So this is 830 pages. So that's pretty long. And for not being a fantasy, that's like 1,600 pages in Ashley page length. You know, like if it's a fantasy or a mystery or a romance or something like that, it's 800 pages. If it's historical literary fiction, it's 1,600 pages. It's like dog years. It's like literary fiction page numbers are different. Just trust me, okay? Lily tried to get this from me again, by the way. Did I like the characters? The style was really kind of getting in the way, but I think so. I think they're interesting. We only really got a sense of two of them. The 13th man, Moody, who was 28, and he's come in and he's all fresh. And then another one called Thomas Balfour. It just really felt like the story was just starting. So I could come to like them, but right now I just think they're interesting. So I'm going to give it a 1. Did it catch my interest? Yes, which is why I do still want to read it, because I want to know why these 12 men who are very different to each other have all come together and are acting very shifty and secretive. And the back talking about ghosts and the Zodiac. Like, how does this have to do with the Zodiac? I'm curious. So that's a 2. So we got 3 so far. Did you like the writing style? Okay, yes and no. So yes, in that I think it was well done. I think when my mind was vibing with it on the same wavelength, I liked it. But also, and I have this trouble a lot with books written in the actual 19th century and books written to mimic the writing of the 19th century, which this is doing. Victorians tended to be very long-winded, lots of run-on sentences, like paragraphs that are just sentences, like frickin' Henry James. That guy should have been kicked in the butt for what he did to literature. But yeah, it's the style. It's a lot. It's a lot of words. Purposefully, they wrote 3 sentences instead of 1, kind of thing. Either I acclimatized to it or not. And I don't know yet if I would have. I think I would, because there were moments in here where I was really, just chugging along great, and then something would hit and I'd have to reread a paragraph 3 times. So I'm going to give it a 1. So we're at 4 right now. Vibe check. The vibes are there. When I was chugging along, like the mysterious atmosphere, the mysterious men, the gold rush stuff was interesting to me. I've never read a book set in the 1800s in New Zealand before, so that's interesting. I'm still very intrigued, so I'm going to give that a 2. So we're at 6, so I guess I'm keeping it. I was on the fence. I wasn't sure how this would go. Anything worth tabbing? Yes, I'm going to say 1. There was one that really stood out to me. Moody has just come into the room and she's describing him in excessive detail, as a Victorian aping author does. And it's talking about the pleasure of looking at oneself in the mirror, and like, it's not always vanity, it's something else. This guy, when he passes himself in the street and he sees his reflection, he can't help but stop and look at himself. Here we go. It was a private practice, and one he would likely have denied, for how roundly self-examination is condemned by the moral prophets of our age, as if the self had no relation to the self, and one only looked in mirrors to have one's arrogance confirmed, as if the act of self-regarding was not as subtle, fraught, and ever-changing as any bond between twin souls. In his fascination, Moody sought less to praise his own beauty than to master it. Certainly, whenever he caught his own reflection in a window box or in a pane of glass after nightfall, he felt a thrill of satisfaction. But as an engineer might feel, chancing upon a mechanism of his own devising and finding it splendid, flashing, properly oiled, and performing exactly as he had predicted it should. That's great. So I'm going to keep it. But I think I might have to do the audio. And the last one is Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth. Okay, I said earlier I thought Then We Came to the End was my oldest book, but this is the one I think it could be in competition with. I'm genuinely not sure which one of these I bought first. I think it was this one. I think it was this one because Oprah's book club picked it, and that's why I wanted to read it. They put out this special edition with the French flaps, which you didn't really see that often at this time, and you still don't, but they're more common. and I just thought it was so pretty with the gold foil and the cathedral. And oh, I just loved it. So I bought it, but I have not once even thought about picking it up. Not once. Let's figure out real quick when it was that I bought this. It was whatever year Oprah picked it for her book club. 2007, November 2007. So I bought this probably that Christmas because I worked at Barnes & Noble in 2007 and I would have gotten it on sale probably. And then we came to the end, was published February 2007, but I didn't buy this new, did I? Did I buy it new? It looks new, maybe. Okay, I still don't know. I still don't know for sure. They're both 2007. Let's go through this one and see what number it came out. I'm gonna spoil you right now, I'm keeping this one. So, first of all, did you like the characters? Yes. Yes. They immediately popped off the page. So there was a prologue and a chapter 1 in this one, and it was actually not that long. It was only like 31 pages for both of those, but I already feel like way more invested in those 31 pages than I do in any of 43 of this. You know, that could change. They're very different, but this is also historical fiction. It takes place in the 1100s, the 12th century in England. I believe the Normans have just, well, they're still speaking Norman French. So that's the ruling class at this point. And I always forget the timeline of English history. Like, it just slithers out and in and gets mixed up. But the Normans, that's what we got here. And I know this is about the building of a cathedral, and it's a generational story, like a family saga. And I was so into family sagas when I was in high school. Like, I read all the Edward Rutherford books where it would follow one family for generations. And I think this is pretty similar, but it's like fancier. It centers not on a country or a place. It centers on this cathedral, I think. The opening chapter, a boy, a thief, he's like 14 or 15 years old, maybe a little older, is hung for stealing a chalice from the church. And there are 5 men who condemn him: the executioner, a priest, the sheriff, and then there's 2 more. It doesn't matter. There's 5 men. Right before he dies, he starts singing, and he looks into the crowd, and there's this girl there, and she's got to be 14 or 15 as well, and she's pregnant and crying. It like holds off his execution for a little bit because the singing and the spectacle that's going on. But then they do hang him, and immediately afterwards, like, the crowd parts because she's gonna throw a curse. She's throwing a curse at these men. She cuts off the head of a rooster, sprays blood everywhere, and curses them. I gotta read you the curse. I curse you with sickness and sorrow, with hunger and pain. Your house shall be consumed by fire, and your children shall die on the gallows. Your enemies shall prosper, and you shall grow old in sadness and regret, and die in foulness and in agony. And I like put that down. I put the book down after I read this prologue, and I was like, that's a hell of an opener. And then I read the first chapter, and it's slower paced, not as exciting, but it's about this guy, Tom, and his family. He's a master builder. He learned to build while working on the cathedral in Exeter from a master builder there, and it's very exacting work because it's for God. And he's obsessed. He's obsessed with building cathedrals, and he's just constantly taking his family all over the place looking for cathedrals to build. I think he's probably going to settle on one because I'm pretty sure I remember hearing this is just about one cathedral. But yeah, his wife's just told him she's pregnant, and like, it was just really good. The characters immediately leapt off the page. It's very historical time period-esque, but they talk in a way that, you know, it's easily readable and very entertaining, and it caught me right away, and I can see myself reading this pretty big book in not that long of a time. So wait, was I answering a question? I've forgotten. Did it catch my interest? Clearly it did, because I just forgot I was answering a question to talk about how interested I was in this. Do you like the writing style? Yes, I already talked about that. We're at 6. Yes, I liked that the complicated subject matter and the characters all came through so well. Like I said earlier, I don't prefer a flowery writing style because it gets in the way of me sinking into the story. I was in the story with this one pretty much immediately. Vibe check? Oh yeah, this has got vibes. I love me a good nasty medieval story where people are in the streets and having medieval drama and still doing really cool things like building cathedrals without machinery. Like, they just did it with their hands. That's nuts. So yeah, vibe check, that's 2. And then anything worth tabbing, I just read you a passage, so clearly I would have tabbed that. So this is a 10. I didn't expect that, you guys. I really thought that I might get rid of this one. Or at least that it would be like a 6 or a 7 or something, but this is a 10. I should probably read this soon. Okay, let's sum up here. So here are the books I'm keeping. I've got, this is very difficult. I'll just do them one by one. So I've got Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. I've got The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. I've got The Hour I First Believed by Wally Lamb. A Changed Man by Francine Prose. Max Gladstone's 3 Parts Dead. And Werner Vinge, A Fire Upon the Deep. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of the 10 I'm keeping. That's pretty good. I don't remember what I rated all of these except for this one, which is a 10. But these were all 6 and above. I don't think I gave a 6. I think it was all 7s and above. I could be wrong. When I edit this, I'll kick myself. But anyway, so this one I'm keeping. And the books I am getting rid of, I am genuinely surprised by some of these. First one is Then We Came to the End. Goodbye. You've been with me since 2007, maybe 2009 at the latest. We've moved on. I'm in a different place in my life. I don't want to read you anymore. Then we've got Microsurfs, a book I never, if I really would have thought about it, would have wanted to actually read in the first place probably. So that's gone. And then The Unraveling of Cassidy Holmes, it just, mediocre book. I can tell this has mediocre book energy, like 2 to 3 star range, I would bet you. But I'm not bothered enough to find out if I'm right or not. Like, it's gone. I have 432 books right now. Remember how my goal from the year was to have that number to like 200 something? Yeah, there's more than there were in January at the moment. So this is why. So this is 4 less now. I'm at like 428. And the last one I'm getting rid of, this one really surprised me, is the Dragon Bone Chair. I thought for sure that I would be into this right away. And I'm not into it right away. So it's going, and somebody else can have this nice little vintage copy with the yellow edges that they don't do those anymore. Oh, it smells really good though, you guys. I know it smells like that way because of gross things that are happening molecularly, but I don't care. So that's it. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with me. Well, Saturday. It's Friday for me. It's probably Saturday at the earliest for you guys, because I don't think I'm going to edit this video tonight. I think I'm going to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's been good. I think I will do this again. It was helpful. I learned my lesson though. I lost steam halfway through. Like after book 6, I was like, oh God, I got 4 more. And some of these had really long chapters, and it was tiring. And it took me like 4.5 hours to do this. So next time I will film in stages. I'll do like 2 days or 3 days of filming so that I don't get sick of it. Because it's really tiring. Like when you enter a story, at least when I enter a story for the first time, you have to acclimate, and you have to it's like going to a new place. And it was really disorienting to have to be in 10 different new places with 10 different new sets of characters, and to reset my brain for the right tone, the right atmosphere and set, all that stuff 10 times within a 5-hour period. Lesson learned. Gotta split it up. If you made it this far, please leave me a zodiac symbol for the Luminaries. There's a bunch of them. If you liked the video, please give me a like, subscribe if you wanna. If you liked this video and you'd like me to see me do this again, let me know and drop me in the comments. If you've read any of these books and want to stump for them, I'm not going to change my mind about these. They're going, but I could still be convinced to read them. I just will not own them anymore, and I will not be prioritizing them. So if you want to stump for them, feel free. If you want to encourage me in which books of these that I should read first, please go ahead. Other than that, I think I'm going to go watch some TV now. I'm going to go watch Aang and Sokka. It's been real. Farewell.